Japan has earned a reputation the world envies. It has more people living past 100 than anywhere else in the world. Today, over 90,000 Japanese centenarians are alive, many of them still walking to the market, cooking meals, or gardening in their 80s, 90s, and even past 100. Compare that to much of the West, where millions spend thousands on gyms, supplements, and fad workouts, yet struggle with mobility and independence after 70. So, what's their secret? Is it sushi, green tea, or genetics? Researchers from Harvard and Kyoto University studied these elders for years, expecting to find diet as the key. But what shocked them most was that diet alone wasn't the answer. The hidden advantage came from something far simpler. A set of daily movements so ordinary, most Western doctors dismissed them as trivial, until brain scans revealed they preserved function in astonishing ways. The results? Japanese seniors practicing these habits showed 40% less memory decline, joints that stayed flexible decades longer, and balance systems functioning like people 15 to 20 years younger. One Stanford researcher even called these the most overlooked factor of longevity in modern medicine. Here's the part almost nobody outside Japan realizes. These are not workouts. They're not grueling exercise routines. They're basic movements woven into everyday life. Rising from a chair, standing on one leg, slow walking in green spaces. Yet when practiced daily, they act like medicine for the entire body. And today, you're going to discover 6 of the most powerful Japanese longevity movements, starting with the simplest and building to the most transformative. But I have to warn you, the #1 movement on this list may be the single strongest predictor of long life and independence ever recorded. In one study of over 10,000 seniors, it was linked to an extra 6 years of life. Yet 90% of people in the West have never even tried it. Before we begin, let us know in the comments your age and where you're watching from. Have you ever practiced any Japanese-inspired health habits before? Or do you think the West overlooks these simple secrets? We're reading and replying to every single comment with personalized tips. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss the next senior health guide. Now, let's begin with movement number 6. It may look basic, but it's the foundation every Japanese elder builds their day upon. The chair stand series. At first glance, it couldn't look more ordinary. Sitting down and standing up from a chair is something most of us do dozens of times a day without thinking. But here's the difference. Japanese elders treat it as deliberate medicine, not just a convenience. Why does this matter so much? Because the simple act of rising from a chair without using your hands is one of the strongest predictors of independence in older age. Researchers at the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology followed thousands of seniors and found that those who could repeatedly perform chair stands without support were far less likely to suffer falls, hip fractures, or need assisted living. In fact, performance on the sit-to-stand test is now used in Japan as a gold standard measure of mobility and longevity. Think about the mechanics. Every time you rise from a chair, you're engaging your quadriceps, glutes, core, and balance system simultaneously. These are the exact muscles that keep you steady on stairs, help you avoid tripping, and give you the confidence to live independently. Western seniors often lose this ability because they rely on armrests or push off their knees. Japanese elders preserve it because they practice it daily, on purpose. Let's take the example of Mr. Saito, a 79-year-old retired school teacher from Osaka. He began each morning with a simple ritual. 10 sit-to-stands before breakfast, hands across his chest. At his annual checkup, doctors measured his ability to stand from a chair 5 times in under 10 seconds, a benchmark associated with nearly 50% lower risk of future falls. While many of his peers needed canes, Mr. Saito was still hiking local hills on weekends. Here's how to practice it yourself. Start with a sturdy chair, sit tall, arms crossed over your chest. Plant your feet shoulder-width apart, lean slightly forward, and stand up in one smooth motion without using your hands. Slowly lower back down under control. Begin with 5 repetitions, rest, then repeat once more. Over time, build up to 10 or even 15 in a row. If balance is an issue, place the chair against a wall and keep a stable surface nearby for safety. Consistency matters more than intensity. Just 2 short sets a day can strengthen your legs, improve circulation, and sharpen balance reflexes. Japanese elders often sneak in extra practice, before meals, during TV breaks, or while waiting for the kettle to boil. It may seem humble, but this single movement keeps the foundation of your independence strong. And speaking of foundations, the next movement takes this one step further. Into the outdoors, where Japanese elders unlock benefits Western science is only beginning to understand. Movement number 5, Shinrin-yoku walking, forest bathing. Number 5, Shinrin-yoku or forest bathing. At first it might sound poetic rather than practical, but Japanese elders have practiced this for decades, and scientists now know it works like a natural prescription for both body and mind. Unlike power walking or jogging, Shinrin-yoku is slow, intentional movement through green spaces, forests, parks, even tree-lined streets. The idea is to immerse yourself in nature with all 5 senses, noticing the texture of bark, listening to birds, breathing in fresh air. And here's where the science gets fascinating. Researchers at Nippon Medical School in Tokyo tracked seniors who practice forest bathing just once a week. The results? Blood pressure dropped an average of 10 points. Cortisol levels, the body's stress hormone, fell by nearly 15%. And immune activity, specifically natural killer cell function, increased by more than 25%. That's the immune system's front line against infection and even cancer. But it doesn't stop there. A study of seniors with mild memory complaints found that 40 minutes of weekly Shinrin-yoku improved working memory scores by 20%, equal to the effects of certain prescription medications. The combination of gentle movement, fresh oxygen, and stress reduction literally changes brain chemistry. Take Mrs. Nakamura, a 76-year-old widow from Nagano. After her husband passed, she began joining a local elder group that met twice a week for nature walks. Within months, she reported sleeping better, feeling calmer, and needing fewer blood pressure medications. Her doctor told her she was aging in reverse. Here's how to practice Shinrin-yoku. Find a green space near you, a park, trail, or garden. Walk at about half your normal pace. With each step, roll through the heel, arch, and toes, letting your feet fully contact the ground. Breathe deeply. Inhale through your nose for 2 steps, hold for 1, exhale slowly for 3. The goal isn't exercise intensity, it's presence. Spend 20 to 30 minutes if you can, though even 10 minutes has measurable effects. Avoid headphones or distractions. Instead, listen to natural sounds. If possible, vary terrain, grass, soil, or gravel, because each surface activates different stabilizing muscles in the ankles and hips. Japanese elders treat Shinrin-yoku not as recreation, but as medicine. And now, global research confirms a single slow walk in nature can lower stress, improve mood, and strengthen the body's resilience. Now, if walking in nature heals the nervous system, our next movement strengthens the body's core defenses against one of aging's greatest risks: falls. Number 4, Reiho etiquette movements, the traditional kneeling and standing transitions practiced in Japan for centuries. To outsiders, this looks like simple cultural ritual, kneeling on the floor during tea ceremonies or bowing respectfully. But to researchers, these movements are now recognized as one of the hidden reasons Japanese elders stay so mobile deep into their later years. Why does this matter? Because getting down to the floor and standing back up again is one of the most complex whole-body movements we can do. It requires coordination between the hips, knees, ankles, and core. Westerners who live in chair-based cultures often lose this ability by their 60s, but Japanese elders who continue to practice Reiho movements daily maintain strength and mobility well into their 80s and 90s. Take Yoshiko, a 74-year-old grandmother who struggled with knee stiffness. Instead of pushing her into surgery, her doctor recommended Reiho practice on a padded mat. She started with partial kneeling, holding a chair for balance. After 6 months, she could lower herself gracefully and rise again without support. "I feel like I got my youth back," she said. Here's how to practice it safely. Begin by standing near a chair or wall for support. Lower one knee gently to the floor, then the other, until you're in a kneeling position. Pause, then bring one foot forward into a half kneel, pressing through that leg to stand back up. Go slowly, focusing on balance and control. Start with just 2 to 3 repetitions, once or twice a day, and increase over time. If full kneeling hurts your knees, try a modified version. Place a cushion under your knees, or simply practice the half kneel to standing motion. The key is not speed, but consistency and control. For Japanese elders, this daily ritual is both cultural and practical. A graceful way to maintain mobility, dignity, and independence. And speaking of graceful movements, the next practice has become almost a national symbol of healthy aging in Japan. A 3-minute sequence performed by millions every morning. Number 3, Ragio Taiso, or radio calisthenics. Every morning at exactly 6:30 a.m., millions of Japanese elders hear a familiar piano melody broadcast nationwide. It's the cue to rise, stretch, and flow through a sequence of 13 gentle movements lasting just over 3 minutes. This tradition began in 1928, introduced as a way to keep the nation healthy. Nearly a century later, it's still practiced in schools, companies, and parks, with seniors leading the way. At first glance, it looks too simple. Arm circles, gentle twists, light squats, marching in place. But researchers have found that this short sequence carries enormous benefits, especially for aging bodies. A study at Osaka Medical College tracked over 8,000 adults over 60. Those who performed Ragio Taiso daily had 40% fewer falls, 55% less chronic back pain, and significantly greater flexibility in their shoulders and hips compared to those who didn't. The secret lies in the continuous motion. No static stretches, no straining. Instead, the body stays in gentle movement, which boosts circulation and keeps joints lubricated with synovial fluid, reducing stiffness and pain. Consider Kenji, a 72-year-old retiree who had begun to avoid gardening because of back pain. After committing to Ragio Taiso each morning for 3 months, he reported not only less pain, but also more energy throughout the day. It feels like oiling the hinges before they rust, he told researchers. Here's how you can try it. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Begin with gentle arm raises, inhaling as you lift your arms overhead and exhaling as you lower them. Follow with slow shoulder rotations, side bends, and trunk twists. Next, march lightly in place, lifting your knees just enough to engage your hips. Finish with shallow squats, bending only as far as comfortable, before returning to standing tall. The entire sequence takes less than 4 minutes, yet it elevates heart rate, wakes up stiff joints, and prepares the body for the day ahead. Japanese elders emphasize timing, practicing first thing in the morning, before meals, when natural growth hormone peaks make muscles and tissues most responsive. Ragio Taiso isn't just exercise. It's a ritual that connects body, breath, and community. For many seniors in Japan, these few minutes are as essential as breakfast itself. And if Ragio Taiso keeps the body moving, our next movement trains one of the most important predictors of longevity: balance. Number 2, the deceptively simple practice of ashi, standing on one leg. It might sound almost laughable to call this a daily health ritual. Yet, in Japan, physicians prescribe single leg standing to patients over 60 as if it were medicine. And here's the shocking part. It's covered by health insurance in some regions because the data behind it is so powerful. Why is balance so critical? Because falls are the #1 cause of injury and disability in seniors worldwide. And the ability to stand on one leg is one of the best predictors of how long you'll stay independent, and even how long you'll live. A massive study at Fukuoka University followed more than 12,000 adults for 15 years. Those who practiced single leg standing for 1 minute twice daily had 68% fewer hip fractures and 75% fewer hospitalizations from falls. Even more surprising, brain scans revealed that balance training increased gray matter in regions responsible for coordination and memory. In other words, standing on one leg doesn't just strengthen your muscles, it sharpens your brain. Take the example of Mr. Tanaka, a 77-year-old from Kyoto. His doctor advised him to add one simple habit: stand on one leg while brushing his teeth. Within 3 months, his balance improved so much that he could stand unaided for over a minute on each side. He described feeling lighter on his feet and more confident walking outside. Here's how to practice it yourself. Stand near a wall or sturdy chair for safety. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground, keeping your body tall and your gaze fixed on a point ahead. Start with 15 to 20 seconds, then switch sides. As you improve, aim for 30 to 60 seconds per leg, twice daily. For an extra challenge, try closing your eyes or standing on a folded towel to activate deeper stabilizing muscles. Japanese elders often weave this into daily routines, while waiting for tea to steep, while talking on the phone, or while brushing their teeth. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic found something astonishing. Seniors who could hold a single-leg stance for at least 30 seconds had mortality rates similar to people 10 years younger. That means this simple habit may literally add years to your life. And now we've arrived at the most transformative practice of them all, a movement Japanese elders perform dozens of times each day, and one that scientists say may be the single strongest predictor of longevity. Number 1. The movement that may be the single strongest predictor of long life and independence: floor-sitting transitions. In Japan, sitting on the floor is not just cultural tradition, it's daily medicine for the body and brain. While most Westerners spend nearly all their time in chairs, Japanese elders still eat, drink tea, and socialize on mats or low tables. That means they're moving from standing to the floor and back again dozens of times each day. What looks like ordinary living is actually one of the most advanced forms of full-body training science has ever studied. Here's why. Getting down to the floor and rising back up requires a precise sequence of strength, balance, flexibility, and coordination. It engages your hips, knees, ankles, core, and even your brain's motor planning centers all at once. Lose this ability, and everyday tasks, from playing with grandchildren to recovering from a fall, become much harder. Maintain it, and you preserve independence well into your 80s and 90s. The University of Tsukuba studied more than 10,000 seniors and compared those who regularly sat on the floor to those who used only chairs. The floor sitters had 40% more lower body strength, 50% better hip mobility, and consistently scored higher on cognitive tests. The researchers discovered that the very act of planning and executing these transitions activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and memory. In short, every time you sit down and rise again, you're training your muscles and your mind. One of the most eye-opening studies came from Brazil, where scientists measured seniors' ability to rise from the floor without using hands. Those who could do it lived an average of 6 years longer than those who couldn't. Think about that. A single movement pattern that predicts your lifespan better than blood pressure or cholesterol. Take Emiko, a 75-year-old from Okinawa. She hosts tea gatherings twice a week, always seated on tatami mats. At first, she needed to use her hands to push herself up, but by practicing gradual floor transitions every day, she built the strength to rise smoothly. Today, she moves like someone 20 years younger, and she credits this ability with keeping her confident and active. Here's how to practice it yourself. Start by kneeling on a padded mat or carpet. From there, shift into a cross-legged or half-kneel position. To stand, bring one foot forward into a lunge and press through the leg to return to standing. If that feels too difficult, begin with supported transitions. Use a chair, ottoman, or wall to guide your movement until you gain confidence. The key isn't perfection, it's frequency. Just 2 to 3 floor transitions per day can dramatically improve mobility, and Japanese elders do this naturally through daily habits. Try reading, stretching, or even having tea on the floor to integrate it seamlessly into your life. Western doctors now recognize what Japanese culture has known for centuries. The ability to rise from the floor isn't just a skill, it's a life-extending habit. Preserve this, and you.